Good evening everyone, this is Sebastian from vtti.io with a small dev update, and today I want to talk about scene submission, adjustments sharing, how can you contribute to make all these things a little bit better. And let's look at only the desktop because my pretty face is not so interesting to look at, but we need some screen state to really showcase what I was working on in the last couple of days. So let's see how easy it is. As probably everything on my tool set is always the premise, make it easy, make it comfortable. So my aim is to provide you with the ability to share a scene that you adjust for yourself while you're trying to run, for example, the Lost Mines of Phandelver or any other source book imported from D&D Beyond using my tools. So this is the first requisite. You need to have the import ready because it will look at, and let's connect the extension and let's go to the scenes, and we can see this little button here, and when we click it, it will look at all the scenes that you have in your current world which has some kind of VTTA ID. So it knows these scenes have been imported by using the latest iteration of tools. And when you now select one of those, for example, you might want to go to the wave Echo Cave and you place some monsters because walling and everything is pretty okay, but the monsters are not there yet. So you might place all those monsters, or let's do something else. Let's try to do that in a hurry because I noticed that when I recorded this video prior, so this map is 10 feet grid and it's perfectly grid aligned. And has all these beautiful walls, but it should really be a 5-foot grid. So that would be one of the adjustments that we're looking for. Right? I just acknowledge that changing the grid size would change all the walls, and let's leave it at that then. And just place some monsters or some lightings. Perhaps just add some little atmospheric lights in the forge here over here. So let's go here. Let's create one of those lights, perhaps here directly at the forge. There is some kind of emitting pulse light like that. And it's a little bit blue. You can really go wild. It will transfer over all the adjustments that you make for lights. And what else do we have? Update light sources, light rotation, light animation. So this is a little bit new to me because I'm just testing the tools on the preview. So the version 9 of Foundry VTT is really working fine with the tools. No adjustments needed. Some deprecation notice were just one actually. So it's really usable with the next version. So that's a quick heads up and a tiny bit of valuable information in this video. Next version should be no problem at all. So this is the new lighting that they brought in with this kind of with the next version, and I'm not very familiar with it. So let's see, pulsing wave, and that looks amazing. I don't know if that's a little bit too obvious for the players to have something like that, but we can perhaps ramp down the animation density. Okay, speed, let's make it real slow. And that's actually pretty neat. Good job, Andrew and other developers. Very nice, I love it. So let's ramp down the color intensity a bit. And I think we're good here. So let's localize and make it a little bit less apparent. I don't know what I'm doing with these. Okay, perhaps I should have looked at the scenes, but let's leave it at that. So we placed a light, and that's amazing, isn't it? So let's go to Wave Echo Cave, and now we see we've got 4 lights. And what it does, this tool is asking the sourcebook parser. So let's look at that. For example, let's show you a little bit around. So these are the components that are running in order to empower you. And we got an item parser, a monster parser, a sources parser, and a spell parser. And then there are webhooks or receive events, and health, reporting health, and an API driving everything. But these really items, monster, sources, spells are the main components that are driving your your imports. And what this module now does is asking the sourcebook parser, hey, what is your current understanding of this scene? And it will compare it. What do you have in store and what have you edited? And it will try to compare it a little bit. It says, okay, monsters +1. I think I placed the monster over here. Not sure, you're the ogre jelly. Okay, let's remove that perhaps, because it's a little bit big for this map with this 10-foot grid size. And that's a bit where I said the tool is not so polished. You need to go to another one and back to really get back to the state. So now it says, okay, no monsters placed. That's basically a red flag. There should be monsters swarming in this echo cave. But the map nodes are okay. We've got 20 map nodes placed. We added one light. There's 950 walls and it's grid aligned. So these are okay. This is basically the quality of the scene. And we will see that when we go to vtti.io, to the adventure status board and down to the lost mines, and we can see that the wave echo cave here has 4 stars of 5, so all that's lacking is a monsters department, and that's exactly true. You can always place more lights if it really is like described in the adventure module, or it makes a little bit more atmosphere to the scene, but that's what it finds, and that's what it deducts from what it finds. So no monsters, normally a red flag, and it is here. So on regional maps, no monsters is not a problem because you don't have monsters there. But on these really specific maps and battle maps, you always need monsters. So let's implement that change log. What did you change? We placed the light source at the, and I hope I do not spoil anything here, at the forge. And let's just submit the scene and see what's happening. Let's go over here. We got here the API, which is basically receiving the scene and then triggering updates. We got in the middle, we got the sourcebook parser. Let's see what he does when we submit the scene. And down here we got the webhooks deployment. So this is basically gets notifications from GitHub. And what we do here is we do have this VTTA dev DDB scenes, which is a copy of VTTA.io DDB scenes, which is the basically what are you getting when you hit import on an adventure module. And I just copied that and I created a new repository so I don't fuck everything up for you while I'm like looking around how can I automate all this stuff. So this is what I'm looking at here, and let's see what happens when we press submit. So we see the API receive the scene, and it will just create, basically it tells the repository in GitHub, hey, I got this new scene, can you please incorporate that into your code base? And let's see what happens over here. It's the IO, that's not the one that we're looking for. It will basically create a pull request. It says, okay, Lost Mines Wave Echo Cave is updated. And let's see. It was submitted by me, and that's my user ID, and that's the changelog that I inserted. And the detected changes, it's a bit wrong here because the format changes on the JSON within the repository in the format that comes in. So that's not really relevant, but it's more or less, well, an overview of what happened. And because I do have the permission to use the tools, that's a user flag that I can set, it will automatically merge this change into the main repository. So when we look at the repository here, we can see here in LMAP scenes, we got this update has been placed now. And now let's look at the sources deployment. Now at the webhooks deployment, it will get this notification, so something changed, GitHub says it, and the webhook will trigger the update from the sources here. And we can see here, we got this change from Wave Echo Cave, and it will updating LMOP for its parser. So once you submit the scene, it will take roughly 10 seconds, and then your scene is available for everyone to use. And this is by just pressing a button here, so it's pretty neat. Now let's go back a little bit to organization stuff, because all these tools can be used in multiple ways. And as I said, so right now I'm looking at providing this scene submission module for people that will say, okay, I'm running a module and I want to make some changes to the one that I import because it's not quite there where I want it to be. And I'm gladly sharing this adjustment to the community. And if you're like that, then please hit me up. Talk to Desagradable or me on Discord, or answer to this comment on this YouTube video, or post me a DM on Patreon. Just get in touch. And I do not want to open this up to too many people because, as you saw, it's pretty automated. And I don't know how greatly it scales. So if several people submit changes to the same map, it will probably not work very well because the last one that submits will be accepted automatically. And if we do not want to have that, we need some kind of review team or review people that will look at the changes and decide which change to accept. Because most of the time, and that is something that I learned from the prior version of tools, where we had some kind of scene submission already. It was basically, I would like to have the maps really precise on the border of the walls. And some people says, hey, all my players have really potato computers, and I'm fine with more roughly sketched walls. These are preferences, and it's really hard to find common ground when we're talking about preferences, because, well, that's a personal and very subjective choice. But when it goes to, hey, there is a wall in here and it should be a secret wall, that's basically a mistake. Of course, that's non-debatable. But having the tools not available for everyone at the start, so let's see how it develops. But at the start, for select people, I do see two benefits there. The communication channel is pretty small, and we can discuss how do we want to establish a common rule set of how should the maps look like. Do we all want to have 5-foot grid? So for example here, it's 10-foot grid, and 5-foot grid would be better in this case because much combat is happening over here, and it's more finicky to handle within Foundry on the 10-foot grid with 5 feet reach and all that stuff. So this would be a change that I would think would be great. But then in the past we got some basically I checked out, what do you think? Should we add 5-foot grid to all maps? So there are regional maps, some kind of in between a regional map like the map of Sword Coast, and something that is really a 5-foot battle map. There was like the surroundings of a town with 40 feet grid, and some people said, I want to have 5-foot grid everywhere, and that would mean like really diminishing the quality of the scene because we need to upscale it enormously. And this is something that we need to debate and that we need to discuss. I do have some ideas how I would like to have my maps when I was the player or DM, but you might have your own, and we think we need to discuss these small nuances. At the baseline, I think we should be good. So if it's a 10-foot grid map, I would say let's ramp it up to 5-foot grid. But if we are 20 or 40 feet or even higher, then ramping it up to 5-foot grid makes less and less sense, in my opinion. So let me hear about yours. So this video is mainly about 3 things. First, I want to show you what I did in the last couple of days. And this whole automatism thing wasn't there when I talked to Desagradable how should go forward with scene submission. Then it was only about the scene, the sourcebook parser needed to be restarted to pull the repository on start and be in that exact state even if another submission would be submitted in the meantime. And that wasn't really something that I really liked, so I put some hours into creating a nice workflow there. The second thing is I wanted to show you how easy it is to submit changes, because I know we are all in very tight, but we do not have time, or everyone has 24 hours and we need some sleep and we need to prepare. And if it's really a hassle to submit a map, I understand that many people would not want to do that. But I wanted to show you it's really easy. Just use the tools within Foundry to create something, adjust something, and then hit submit scene. And that's all you need to do, really. And prior to that, I would need to have a quick talk, tell you how to install the module, tell you how to use the module, because as I said, there's a little bit of finicky usage, clicking here and going back to really get the updates. These are the fine things that you need to know in order to really push the updates that I want to push and not anything else. So it's really just, we need to have a quick chat, 10 minutes or so, and then you can get started. And the third thing that I wanted to show you is that we need some kind of discussion of where do we want to aim? What should be our gold standard in regards to battle scenes? So please voice your opinions, write comments, and hit us up on Discord, and so on. So let's get this party started. I think now with this toolset in place, and this is just now on VTTI dev, it will be pushed to production really soon. I just want to make some tests with Desagreeable and other people who already said they want to use and help that. And when that's done, it will be ready. And then I would need some volunteers to say, yes, I want to submit maps. All right, that's about it. So I hope you have a great weekend. Now we got tomorrow's Friday, and that's a weekend, and just enjoy the weather. It's getting warmer and warmer here in Germany. I hope you're feeling good and you're not like threatened by bushfires or something like that, like the southern parts of Europe right now. So take care, brothers. Bye bye.